So as we begin, let us take inventory. We are a nation that has a government, not the other way around. And this makes us special among the nations of the earth. Our government has no power except that granted it by the people. It is time to check and reverse the growth of government, which shows signs of having grown beyond the consent of the governed.
Born on February 6, 1911, Ronald Reagan was the President of the United States from 1981 to 1989. He campaigned as a Republican who won the nomination in 1980. He was a conservative and promised to lower taxes as an attempt to stimulate the economy. He was also in favor of states' rights. He promised the nation a strong national defense. His domestic policy started with Reaganomics, or trickle-down economics. It was cut taxes for the rich in hopes that some of the money would trickle down to the lower classes. The goal of Reaganomics was to tighten the money supply to reduce inflation and to reduce the growth of government spending. Reagan was in favor of allowing companies to do what they wanted and believed the government should have less control. Reagan also ended the price control on domestic oil that was put in place by the Nixon and Ford administration. President Reagan did not agree with mutual assured destruction doctrine because he thought it immoral to destroy a civilization of another country in retaliation. Instead, he enacted the Reagan Doctrine, an attempt to overwhelm global influence of the Soviet Union. He also advocated for the destruction of the Berlin Wall.
We welcome change and openness, for we believe that freedom and security go together, that the advance of human liberty can only strengthen the cause of world peace. There is one sign that the Soviets can make that would be unmistakable, that would advance dramatically the cause of freedom and peace. General Secretary Gorbachev, if you seek peace, if you seek prosperity for the Soviet Union and Eastern Europe, if you seek liberalization, come here to this gate. Mr. Gorbachev, open this gate. Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
During Reagan's presidency, there were quite a few events that took the nation by surprise. In 1981, Reagan fired 12,000 striking air control workers. That same year, there was an attempt on his life. He survived a bullet to the lung. Also in 1981, he appointed the first woman to the Supreme Court, Sandra Day O'Connor. In 1985, the president met with the leader of the Soviet Union, Gorbachev, to talk about disarmament and relations. Soon after, in 1986, tragedy struck. The U.S. space shuttle Challenger burst into flames right after launch, killing all 7 astronauts on board. In October of 1987, Reagan signed the Intermediate Range Nuclear Forces Treaty. Now neither the U.S. nor the USSR could use nuclear or mid-range weaponry. In 1982, Ronald Reagan's wife, Nancy Reagan, launched the Just Say No campaign, which informed the youth about the dangers of drug abuse. She invited the first ladies of other countries to talk about drug abuse issues, and she was also the first lady invited to address the United Nations General Assembly. Ronald Reagan, in support of his wife, passed a drug enforcement bill that budgeted $1.7 billion to fund the war on drugs and specified a mandatory minimum penalty for drug offenses. Also in 1988, President Reagan created the Office of National Drug Control Policy to coordinate drug-related legislative, security, diplomatic, research, and health policy throughout the government.
And that's about all I have to say tonight, except for one thing. The past few days when I've been at that window upstairs, I've thought a bit of the shining city upon a hill. The phrase comes from John Winthrop, who wrote it to describe the America he imagined. What he imagined was important because he was an early pilgrim, an early freedom man. He journeyed here on what today we'd call a little wooden boat, and like the other pilgrims, he was looking for a home that would be free. I've spoken of the shining city all my political life, but I don't know if I ever quite communicated what I saw when I said it. But in my mind, it was a tall, proud city built on rocks stronger than oceans, windswept, God-blessed, and teeming with people of all kinds living in harmony and peace. A city with free ports that hummed with commerce and creativity. And if there had to be city walls, the walls had doors, and the doors were open to anyone with the will and the heart to get there. That's how I saw it and see it still. And how stands the city on this winter night? More prosperous, more secure, and happier than it was 8 years ago. But more than that, after 200 years, 2 centuries, she still stands strong and true on the granite ridge, and her glow is held steady, no matter what storm. And she's still a beacon, still a magnet for all who must have freedom, for all the pilgrims from all the lost places who are hurtling through the darkness toward home. We've done our part, and as I walk off into the city streets, a final word to the men and women of the Reagan Revolution, the men and women across America who for 8 years did the work that brought America back. My friends, we did it. We weren't just marking time. We made a difference. We made the city stronger. We made the city freer. And we left her in good hands. All in all, not bad. Not bad at all. And so, goodbye. God bless you. And God bless the United States of America.